The Cal Poly Welcome Center, the spot on campus that greets prospective students and supporters, has finally opened its doors once again after a year and 2 months of being closed. During this time, all faculty, staff, and student workers had no other option but to work from home. Fifth-year architecture major Sierra Johannes had never physically worked inside the Welcome Center until the first week of May 2021. She describes the advantages of being able to work in person for the first time.
It's a lot easier to communicate with your team in person because you can just ask a quick question and get a response immediately rather than having to sit and message them and wait for them to reply. It's a lot more efficient to be in person.
However, Johannes does recognize that both work environments have pros and cons of their own.
I think there's benefits to both. I personally like in person better because you can interact with people and create relationships with your coworkers. Being face-to-face rather than just messaging back and forth. You can pick up on human emotions a lot easier. I do think there's benefits of being online. It gives you a little bit more freedom of traveling and whatnot, but personally I prefer in person.
Although returning back to work in person is not mandatory, Johannes had motives as to why she decided to make the transition.
There's a lot more human connection there. Relationships are built and are stronger when you're able to interact face-to-face. So that was my number one reason for coming back. And I think that our facility is doing a really great job of making sure that everyone is protected and comfortable. So personally, I think that it's going to be a really good transition.
In order to tackle the tough decision of either working in person or from home, she says there may be an alternative in the future.
I think that a hybrid would be nice, having the option certain days. I understand being in a facility, someone has to be there to keep it up and running, but I think there are definitely things that could be done from home. And especially even if you're just not feeling well, I think that's become a lot more apparent with COVID is oh, maybe if I do have a cough, I should stay home or even just a general cold instead of giving it to all my employees. But I think that a hybrid situation is probably going to be a lot of places' realities moving forward.
Fourth-year business administration major Lindsay Keicher, who is another Welcome Center student worker, has worked in person before the pandemic, from home during it, and is now back in the physical workspace. She describes her experience in dealing with both environments.
In-person work, I would say, is a lot more about interacting with prospective students and their supporters, and I think that there is just an unmatchable kind of connection with your coworkers and with all the visitors that we get through here. And I think it's also been interesting over when we worked online over the summer, giving tours of the campus, not on the campus. But I think that, we went through a lot of adjustment and learned kind of how to adapt.
Although Keicher adores working inside the center, she reflects on some of the advantages that working from home offered that were never done in the past, such as virtually meeting with prospective students and having weekly virtual staff meetings.
I think we gained a lot of adaptability skills. That was huge. Also, like I mentioned, that the connectivity was almost stronger because, you're able to have those group meetings that we had never had before. And normally everyone's schedules are so wacky, but if our only form of communication is, over Zoom, I have Zoom on my phone. I can interact with people whenever I need to. But, when someone shoots you a text, that was kind of a new thing of it kind of became more involved in your life, and it's kind of nice actually.
Overall, she will prefer to work from inside the center than from her apartment any day of the week.
In person all the way. Nothing beats visitors coming in and talking with them, getting to know them, learning about them. And there's just something about being able to see their face. One thing when you tell a joke and there's no response, that's a little painful. But when you're able to look someone in the eye, make that eye contact, really just connect with the human being, oh God, there's just nothing better than connecting with people that are visiting Cal Poly.
I'm Rafael Medina for Mustang News.